A Winston-Salem detective is cracking down on crime in a big way, and here's the proof of that. The average national rate at which an officer solves crimes is about 60%. Well, a local detective had a 100% solve rate last year. WFMY News 2's Denise McMiller found out how.
Yeah, Chad, Detective Bowles says a huge part of gathering clues and giving families closure is about building relationships. He says some of the people he's built bonds with call him to this day with tips.
Here is where the first homicide investigation I ever got assigned when I became a homicide detective.
Detective Bowles showed me his very first homicide case he solved with the Winston-Salem Police Department 3 years ago.
That was my very first one. This guy actually pled last week to 23 to 29 years.
Detective Bowles has a track record of solving cases since joining the department's homicide unit. Last year, he solved 100% of his cases, surpassing the national average of 60%.
The expertise that I've gained to help me be able to solve homicides is just being able to work in various units. The various units I've worked in, you see different parts of the community, you interact with different citizens, you build community relationships, which inevitably has helped me tremendously.
His partner, Detective Rakes, is right behind him with a 90% solve rate. They're somewhat of a dream team.
We've always had good success. You know, it's kind of like if I'm not talking, he knows when to come in and start talking, and then kind of vice versa. And I think that's been probably one of our biggest areas of success has been in the interview room.
As far as these investigations, it varies. Some can take a matter of hours, and some can take months. It just kind of depends on what pieces of the puzzle are there when you first get the case.
Since joining Winston-Salem PD in 2011 and working his way up the ranks, Bowles says being a detective is his most rewarding position thus far.
When you're able to get that closure in an investigation and you get to call that family member and you hear them crying and screaming on the other line with joy.
Bowles wants to continue to give families peace during their most trying times, but says it's going to take a community effort.
The biggest thing that hinders an homicide investigation is not community support. Nothing's more difficult than to know that you have an eyewitness, but they won't come forward and talk to you.
And Detective Bowles is working on his first homicide of the year and plans to continue to crack codes and solve cases. One day, he hopes to become a sergeant.